57 Radio, your home for underground hip-hop, rap, and R&B. Studio 57 Radio. You're listening to Studio 57 Radio, your home for underground hip-hop, rap, and R&B. Studio 57 Radio.
Holy shnikes. Take 832,417. Jesus H. Christ. That was just obscene and uncalled for. That's all right. We're back. We'll get it right. It's working. We're good. We'll do whatever, man. It's party time. It is the final show of the year. I came in with some Madden stuff hot. That didn't work. I had some video for like our little break. That's not going to work. I took all that out of there to make this stuff work. So I don't know. But I know we're going to do our best and worst of the year. We're going to talk some stuff. We're going to wax poetic about Mr. John Madden, and of course, talk the stuff that's going on here. And hopefully we'll try to run from COVID, but you know what that's like. All right, so without further ado, let's do take 82 of DSR2. I am Scrappy, and here's your host, Johnny the Moose.
Hey, we're back here for DSR2 here again. As we said, we already kind of broke down what we're going to talk about, so we're just getting right into it. Again, that's what we said. We're going to have our kind of year end. We'll have the best of stories, the worst stories of the year, the funnest ones out there, and we'll get into that. Also, we got, as we said, we got bowl season going on right now. If you are in a bowl game on there, or again, who knows with the damn COVID out there. And we got college football playoffs on Friday. We got Bama and Cincinnati at 3:30. And then for the prime time viewing pleasure, we have the University of Michigan Wolverines versus the Georgia Bulldogs at 7:30 there. So ring in the new year with hopefully a Michigan victory. So.
Sorry, I had my button pushed. To me, that's what it's all about, because I don't know, I'm gonna wait my whole life to get to this kind of thing, because it's always been you always had the BCS, and then since they got rid of the BCS, Michigan really hasn't been a player in any way, shape, or form.
Even before the BCS, Michigan hasn't been a player.
Facts. So that's part of the problem right there. So yeah, so I'll be all about that prime time game for sure. So we'll see how that all plays out, but definitely going to be a part of that. So I don't know. I'm excited. I can't wait till it goes down. We'll of course break it down afterwards, next week or whatever. But as we get ready for the national championship game. So we were working good. Now I think we're back to hiccuping again. I don't know. This might be a Facebook thing today, guys. We'll see, because it gets fine and then it hiccups a little. So just be patient with us. If it gets real bad, we'll do a reboot at break time. But it seems to be okay. It just every once in a while we get a little hiccup. So
all right.
I'm getting I know you've been blowing up my inbox. We haven't even had to put the text line out there yet, and you already got me lit up. So I appreciate it. We'll do our very best to hopefully get this thing rolling. But like I said, this may be a Facebook issue more than anything. You can check the YouTube channel and let me know how that's rolling. Maybe there's less of an issue over there. So we got that option too for you. And then, so we'll see.
It's probably frickin' Zuckerberg's fault.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to blame that some bitch. To be honest, I'm going to blame him for the outage. We're being zucked. But hopefully it goes in and stays good. If not, and there's any issues, I'll repost the episode for you guys as we move forward. And like I said, if I have to do a reboot at break time, then that's what we'll do. We'll try again. Anything to get the show rolling. So we'll see how it happens. But anyway, moving forward, Moosey Moose. I don't even know where to start, man. It's been a crazy 2021, dude.
Yeah, I mean, we all set where we were going to talk about, and news broke yesterday with the passing of John Madden. It's like, we definitely got to throw that in there because, again, as we said, is for somebody for essentially a better part of a half decade or half century,
Right.
He's been a part of the NFL action, and there. I mean, he was one of the. I think he was like the youngest head coach of all time at age 32.
That's crazy.
Of the Oakland Raiders. Yeah, he basically on there. He only coached 10 years with the Raiders. Got to the playoffs 8 times, 6 times AFC Championship game, and in the Super Bowl champion after the 1976 season when they took out the Minnesota Vikings, like 32-14 or something like that on there. And again, his quits at the age of 42 and essentially the prime of his coaching career. He says does it for health reasons and gets in the broadcasting booth where he spends the next 20, almost 30 years.
Yeah. And it's wild, though, because we were breaking it down kind of in the pregame, Moose. And, of course, that got extended because we're messing with the technical shit. And, of course, it takes a little bit of the fire out of the conversation when you get cold water splashed on you. But when you think about how many generations that guy touched in a positive way,
yeah,
it's pretty wild when you think of all the things he had himself involved in all the years, from being the coach to being an analyst to the Madden game. And you think about there's probably 5-6 generations of people that have been influenced in a positive way, it feels like, from John Madden. So,
yeah.
And then you think about the childhood, right? Like everybody's childhood has Madden involved, just because Madden is his voice in the games. He's all on the games and stuff too. So it's not even like he's just it's not like it's just from when he was an announcer, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, they're on Madden. Essentially, Madden's been around for 30 years. On there, it came out in Sega Genesis, and we had Technobowl for Nintendo, and then you get Sega come out there, and all of a sudden, you got Madden, and they got the same year or the same time you get the NHL '94 comes out, and they're still again. I love NHL '94. Gonna make Gretzky bleed.
Yeah.
On there, but yeah, he had Madden out there with the whole aspect of on there with him in video games and sports games, and then you see when the advent of when PS2 came out there, and they went to the Madden, the graphics got better. Now you look at the graphics, and it's like, crap, it's better than looks like better than the games do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the gameplay's terrible nowadays, but the graphics are great and everything with it.
Well, it's one of those things where they you over-engineer things. Like, you can never sacrifice playability. So they'll get back to it. Like, what happens is you have different guys have different ideas, and you try different stuff. And you got to think about how long that game's been around, how it's revolutionized those sports games in general, not just football, but like all the other games.
Oh, yeah.
And so you start running out of ways to innovate, and then you start getting bored with doing the same thing over and over again. So then you start trying to come up with new ideas and gimmicks, and then you run out of gimmicks. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happens over Moose. I think the first one came out in 95. That's like 30 years ago.
Right. Yeah, because it was a cartridge.
It's like 30. It's like 27 years ago, so or whatever it is. So I just. It's nuts when you think about that game, just that game alone. And then, football is a big part of a lot of kids. Growing up. So he was active, like in my generation. He was the announcer, and he was on your favorite game, and you knew that he had been a coach and was a champion. Because that's why he was where he was at when you were. For me, for my generation. So. Every generation's got just a little something different. Even the younger kids now know who Madden is. I mean, he's in the damn game. So,
Yeah, I
And
mean,
they only know him for that, but whatever.
Yeah. I mean, players know about him and everything with it. And of course, when Madden comes out there and they see what the rankings are, they usually bitch about that.
Yeah,
and,
well, that was always funny. And the Madden curse, that was always a joke.
The Madden curse on. If you're on the cover, you're doomed for a bad year with it. But he was like the first color guy, and again, he was. I mean, he's going to go down as the best color guy in the history of the NFL because he broke it down. It wasn't just like a former coach, and he broke it down on there. Used the telestrator as a tool, showing us how plays developed and what they're going to do and motions here. They're going to do it. He's gone out there with it. So you got to learn a lot from just watching him call a game in that. And again, of course, when it was him and Summerall calling a game, if it was Sunday afternoon, whether it was on CBS or then Fox, that was the premier game of the day.
Well, and what it is too is, by far, because he would always get the good games, and they would always get the good games because they were by far the superior, team. When you start looking at any team that he was on, from a broadcast standpoint, he does. You know what everybody gets all giddy about Tony Romo for? Madden did that. He cornered that market. That's his stick. Like he's breaking down the stuff that he knows about the game and like laying it all out for you. It's kind of what we like about the Madden or the Manning cast, right? Because they break down things like that for you. He did that in game, and he did it in a way that like you just could relate to the guy. Yeah. So
he didn't dumb it down, but he made it fun and entertaining, and basically with the whole boom and bang and slobber knockers and all the little speaks and everything with it.
Well, he embraced it. At one point, it was kind of funny, and it's like then he embraced it, and he reminds me of that old like history teacher you had in high school where he was just goofy and he'd say goofy stuff, and you'd like goof with him back, and he just embraced the goofiness. And I had a guy, math teacher, whatever teacher you have, but just feel like one of those kind of guys where, even though he's that quote unquote disciplinarian, there was always that relatable level to him. Yeah. Even when he was,
he made it fun. He made it entertaining. And again, basically you looked at it, remember his days as a coach. He was he was bigger than life. I mean, he was very basically emotional, jumping up and down, screaming on there.
He's a big guy.
He was a big guy with it. Right. And the way he's running up and jumping up and down with this, as they would say, is the bike pants on there with the huge waistband on there. And he'd be jumping up and he embraced it too. And he was a player's coach for sure. Because again, if you look at what the Raiders were in the 70s, they were all insane lunatics.
Right.
You embrace, go out and whatever. I don't care. As long as you're there at practice and at the game day, you're out playing, then I don't care. I'm not going to get on your case. Yeah. If you're out till wee hours in the morning and doing God only knows what, because every player on the Raiders were the misfits. They were the lunatics.
Yep, absolutely.
Out there. Their fans were nuts. The players were nuts. And it was just the whole team-wise on there. I mean, they as they said, is the black sheep of the NFL because, obviously, is Al Davis, the crypt keeper with his freaking velour jumpsuits and his gold, and with his slick back hair and the Brooklyn accent. I mean, it was just like, okay. I mean, it's like you missed that on it because it wasn't corporate America. It was basically here it is, and here's what it is on there with it. And again, as yours calling Monday Night Football and then Sunday Night Football with it. And again, he embraced it on there. The whole aspect of it. He didn't want us. He wouldn't fly anywhere, so they got the Madden Cruiser. He had his customized mobile homes, and again, of course,
he was claustrophobic, I guess.
Yes, he did not like closed spaces, so he's like on there. He did on there with that, and the whole Thanksgiving, basically giving the 6-legged turkey first and on there. Then they came out with the turducken. I learned about turducken through Madden. I didn't know what the hell is a turducken. Yeah, it's a duck shoved inside a chicken, shoved inside a turkey, and they throw on 4 more drumsticks.
Yes. Layer it up in there with some stuffing and just go for it. Yeah, he's just, and you know what? This is the thing. This is why, as much as it we've been talking about a lot of people. We lost a lot of people in 2021. I mean, we're not even going to go down that road because we don't want to turn the show down. But that's what's so cool about Madden is that it was this all kind of, you couldn't write this story any better, right? Like, he had the coaching career and he got out in time, and then he was a broadcast career and he got out in time. It's not like he was, diagnosed with something and it took him off the air and then he passed away. I mean, that's kind of more. He's been off the air for whatever 11, 12 years, and so he got to kind of go through the life's process, and then you have this documentary that comes out on him, and all these people speaking good about him and talking about him, and then he has that like epiphany, that clarity in his life where he realizes like the true impact he had on people over all these generations that we talked about in the open here, and then that comes out. He gets to see all that stuff, be a part of the documentary. The documentary comes out, he gets to watch it, and then he gets to say, hey, this is it. I've done it. I've done it all.
Yep. I'm going out of my terms. I'm out. I'm checking out, and I'm done.
And that's just what it felt like. And you know what? If it was my life, you couldn't write it any better. I mean, as far as I'm concerned. And I imagine as he looks down on the sports world or whatever, everybody talks about it, he's the same thing. He wouldn't have wrote it any better. I mean, you got this Kurt Warner movie that's coming out, and it ain't got nothing on what just happened. You tell the John Madden story in a 2-hour film format.
Yeah, I mean, it's on there. You talk about all the players just speaking about their, how just their experiences dealing with Madden and everything with it. And again, something great. I mean, again, ripping on Troy Aikman because he can't grow a beard, and he's doing the telestrator about here's what he looks like on facial hair.
Yeah, drawing on his face.
And then I guess Aikman changed his avatar on Twitter so it looks like he's got a beard.
That's awesome.
For Madden, which is great. I mean, you're not gonna. I don't know if you'll. I mean, especially his days with him and Summerall on there. I don't know if you're ever gonna have that again. Whether you just caught true lightning in a bottle there, because they were just the perfect tandem. I mean, Summerall was a pro of calling a game. I mean, again, he was a former player, plays kicker, but again, had the pipes out there to call a game and everything with it, and he was just like the premier of everything with it, especially when they were in their prime. I mean, Summerall was at the end, got really bad with it, basically didn't know players' names and so forth with it, but yeah, Madden was always on top, and it was just wonderful to see that, so. Yeah, I mean, this is, again, as we said, we're not going to do a memorial. It's a celebration of the life on there of John Madden and on there. And again, it's like, you know what, dude? You brought a smile to my face.
Yeah.
Every
absolutely.
week.
Yep, absolutely. Especially when he kind of embraced the silliness of, like, all,
it's football. It's a game.
Yep. He embraced it all as an announcer at some point, because it was always kind of goofy, and they'd always kind of be goofing on him a little bit. But he always he just embraced it, and just
he'd
even sound even goofier and say even he'd be even more boom, and he'd bang and all the phrases and the goofiness and the commercials and stuff
the
like that.
The light commercials where he's crashing through the walls and doors out there, and he's just going off on a rant and everything with it. And it's just a lot of fun and everything with it. So.
Yeah, I agree.
And you can tell it's like, he's one of those guys that definitely pounded a couple of ginger ales back in the day.
Absolutely.
And the fun thing is, too, is like, he was 32 years old. He's coaching. The dude looked like 60 then. And he's really, I mean, yes, he was 85 and he's a little older, but he really didn't age that bad. I mean, considering he was 85, he still looked pretty good. He was like that lovable big lummox that doesn't age. So. Yeah, what I'm going to say is, you know what? Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate everything that you've done to the game. And again, he was a Hall of Fame coach, Hall of Fame broadcaster. I mean,
right. Yep. No doubt. No doubt. So it's just, yeah. So, yeah, I'll be on YouTube, like, finding some more of that silly stuff. Like, I was watching his telestrator moments. Of course, I saw the Troy Aikman one.
Yeah.
They're showing ones where he's, like, drawing things, and it turns out to look like penises and crazy stuff. And you're like, oh, no, man. It's just so funny. And so, yeah, I like that he embraced that part of, like, his personality or whatever. As far as when he was doing color commentary. So I don't know, I'll probably remember him most for that kind of stuff. besides the game, obviously.
Yes.
Canada Mike checking in says, man, if I got to type this again. So he's been in here on the with the technical difficulties. Hopefully we're good to go. It looks like we are at this point. We had hiccups every once in a while, so the YouTube channel might be an option for you. But Canada Mike, we appreciate it. He says, Happy New Year from Canada. Let me be the first to declare Team Canada the World Junior Champions. And whatever. Let him gloat. It wouldn't be an episode in 2021 without our buddy Canada Mike. And if you're still listening, buddy, we love you. We miss you over there. Hopefully we get a chance to get over here. And we're kind of just riding out this new variant and some of the things. And then I think I'm going to try to get up over there and hang out with Mr. Canada Mike a little bit. So thanks for being who you are and hanging out with us and checking in with us. You guys can do the same. I will get the text line up for you here in just a second. I can't, Moose, this year has been, I don't know what to say. It's like one of those things where it goes quick and then again, it seems like it takes forever in some cases. It's like, I don't know how to explain time to people, but the way it feels to me sometimes, it could be as long as a year as it is. It goes by quick as well. 313-307-5340. Your best and worst of the year, Moose. And we'll take it from the peeps too. Right now, for me, and it might be just because it's fresh, I think the whole Michigan turnaround, Michigan football turnaround.
For us as a local on here, as aspect wise, it's I mean, Michigan was picked to finish 4th in the East on there. Harbaugh was basically given an ultimatum. They cut his salary, basically gave him a 1 year-to-year extension and said, plain and simple, we're done. You need to win something there. And he gets newer coaches, younger coaches out there. They get a new defensive coordinator with Mike McDonald out there. He gets a lot of young. I mean, I think there's only a couple coaches that are, nobody's over the age of 45 as a coach other than Harbaugh for the University of Michigan wise on there.
All right.
And they have a special season. I mean, it was looking one of those things. And I was one of those ones is like, I'm not getting on board till you win. You do something there, and again, when it came out,
we were uber critical.
I've been for the last couple of years super critical of Harbaugh.
If he's not here where he's at right now, we've been calling for his head at this point.
Yes.
So if he's not here where he's at right now, but at this point, I still want to see him win a game, at least perform well. I mean, if you play well and then just lose on some crazy nonsense, then. I ain't mad at you.
No.
But then the question is, do you continue doing what you're doing or do you go out of control again? Like we saw this song and dance before, as far as I'm concerned, where he came in hot his first year. And it seemed like we were going in the right direction. All of a sudden the wheels fell off. So you go in here and you win this game and you get to a national championship game, which anything can happen in a national championship game.
It's one and done there for honor. And so,
Then of course we're doing backflips and we're all happy and whoop-de-woo. And to be honest with you, Moose, who else is out there that you want to bring in at this point when it comes to that? So I'm just going to take it for what it is. I'm going to be happy for what we got. Like I said, that's probably my best for this year as far as for me personally to see Michigan
back
have
to prominence.
and have that turnaround like that and really own not just the Big Ten but like the SEC teams and stuff too.
Right.
So and to be able to be in this position. So regardless of the Harbaugh situation and what happens,
the fact of how they're winning wise on there, they
Sure.
kind of went back to what his days of success when he was at Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
And at his early days at Frisco, and even his first couple years under, it was basically we're going to go back to like our roots on there, playing smash mouth football. You're going to be able to run the ball. And again, it's one of those things. Defense, running the game on there, running the football, and defense carries with you. It travels well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So whether the weather's crappy or not, if you can run the football
Yep.
and play defense, you're going to win a game.
You are.
And the aspect of them losing to Michigan State. Yes, it stinks that they lost the state. And again, it was a couple fluky plays and everything. But I still believe if this team beats Michigan State, I don't know if they basically have the right frame of mind to basically destroy Ohio State like they did.
Yeah, I
think it was probably the best thing to happen. It refocused the team a little bit on there. And again, the passing game got better since that the Michigan State game. McNamara solidified himself as the number one quarterback for the team. And the passing game since then, really from then on, was much better wise with it. And then you've got the defense wise, you've got the best tandem of defensive ends in the country, and it's not. And again, that's not even open for debate.
Well, and it's one of those things too, where you're talking about a upperclassmen here. You're talking about
guys
seniors.
that could have left on there and they would have been drafted.
Yep.
And they said, no, we've got unfinished business.
Yep.
And I think you've gotten that leadership with these kids that came back this year, and him embracing that, him getting basically rejuvenated wise, and because he was like kind of a shell of himself the last 3 years.
Sure.
Till this year. And this was like, it's Jimmy's back. But he's basically reined himself in where he's still fired up and he's still energetic and he's still emotional. But he didn't do the stupid calls. He trusted the offensive coordinators to call the games on there, and what they did.
Well, that's the other part of this equation, right? It's not just the players on the field. It's the coach. You talked about, not being the smartest guy in the room all the time and having, really just it's an infusion of youth in the coaching staff.
Oh, yeah.
And so I just really think that he did that. He followed it where it took him, and it worked. So that's the other part of it. So it's one of those things where, is this lightning in a bottle when these seniors leave and does Harbaugh go back to his old ways and get stubborn and, have to be the smartest guy in the room every time? And do we have a problem recruiting and the talent level isn't there? And there's the experience, like, do we go back to that? That's I think the only question
I think on
for
offense,
Michigan fans, but I wouldn't expect it to be a big drop off.
No,
right?
I don't. Offensive wise, we may be a better team next year than we are this year.
Well, I would hope so from a skilled position standpoint, right? But you're talking about an offensive line that is. I'm sorry, you can talk about Haskins being a beast and how great
that offensive line was. Again, they were the best offensive line as a whole line in the country.
It's not. Yeah,
and you lose two guys. You lose Vidardis on there, but then they're getting a kid out there that's transferring from Virginia over to Michigan next year, who's essentially is a second-team All-American at center. So we're actually upgrading center-wise. And you look at the receivers they got coming in, and Ronnie Bell coming back. Yeah, we're losing Haskins, but then Donovan Edwards is there as a sophomore. You still got Blake Corum. You still got the quarterbacks. You still got all your skilled players that are going to be back next year. Defense-wise, we're going to be hurting on there because we are losing Ross, and we're losing Ojibbo, and we're losing Aiden Hutchinson. But I think the secondary is going to be better next year, and we'll see what they can do on it. But you have Mike McDonald bringing a pro-style defense play calling to the college game. And I think that was a huge upgrade.
Sure, absolutely.
Because you weren't playing... Basically, you weren't blitzing and playing man-to-man. You're playing zone. You're getting the guys out there. They were able to get guys pressure-wise with just 4 men rushing because you had basically 2 great defensive ends. The defensive tackles will all be back on everything with it. So I think this is going to be a constant on there. Now, I think, again, I do believe it's going to be Michigan. It's going to be Ohio State. It's going to be Michigan State for a couple years. Penn State on there. They're going to still rue the day they gave James Franklin a 10-year contract.
Yeah. Oh, well, we talked about all those long contracts. You just I'm sorry.
Dude's a great recruiter, but he can't coach. He's a terrible X's and O coach.
Yeah. No, it comes down. Yeah, when it comes down to it, the college game, it's a little bit more crucial. And, yeah, I agree. So that's my best of the year, Moose. What are you feeling this year? What really got you?
I love that aspect with it. I love the fact that it's like at least for us localized the Tigers actually playing fun. It made it fun to watch this summer over the past summer wise on there. Really on there. The fact is the Canadians getting to the Stanley Cup Finals. You got a team from Canada. Canada might be happy. You got one of the original six with Montreal getting there. And yes, they lost to Tampa Bay, but it was great to see a run that Montreal put on there doing that. Brady winning his 7th Super Bowl, his first year in Tampa. Him and Gronk go there and they win the Super Bowl. So he's got number 7 with it. Atlanta winning the World Series, I think, is a great story too. The year that essentially Hank Aaron dies, they win the World Series there with it. Yeah. I don't even talk about this. Mickelson being the oldest winner, winning a major at 50 years old. I mean, that was electric. That the PGA Championship. Sure. I mean, the crowd was nuts. They fed on it. They got almost an aspect of like they got out of control. I mean, it was like, I like that aspect too. Is pro athletes, or again, athletes basically bring in the forefront the aspect of mental health. Yeah. Bring it out there to the open air. Listen, we're not dealing just with physical. We got our mental health with it and the stress of basically going day in, day out, year in, year out, and trying to compete with it on it. It's going to weigh on you with it. And I think that aspect of athletes with it. And again, and people are going to be, they're calling them software. No, bullshit. Yeah, I ain't hearing that. They're, again, athletes 50 years ago didn't have the aspect of freaking social media day in, day out, just people chirping on there with them. You know what? It's important to them. I mean, it's just as important as being physically fit as you got to be mentally fit.
It's for everybody.
And it's probably more so on here because the mental aspect does weigh on you physically on here. Whether again you could do something on there, so I think it's important.
It's one of those things too, right? Now think about it. Like you go through these mental stresses every day, so let's add like all the stress of media and all this, and then the fact that
the pressure of trying to be the best in the world.
Well, the pressure of that, it's really just a matter of being able to have a career, right? Like that your longevity, guys. I'm 40. I'm gonna be 45 next year, here in 2022, and I've been working for over 30 years. These guys' career lasts, 8?
Yeah.
10 years, if they're lucky. 6 years, if they're a running back. I mean, so they got to make all that money in a little bit of time. There's all this pressure. And then what do you do after the game when it's something that you've done your whole life? Like, the mental health aspect of it goes so far above and beyond like just normal stuff that it's hard to kind of quantify it, and how people react to it it's all different. Like who gives who the right to tell me, you, or anybody else how to react to a certain stress in their life?
Right.
Like, who are we to say that? Like, I don't know, especially when it comes to accumulative. And if you're not aware of like mental health and that is not a concern right now in 2021 going into 2022, then you're lost already.
Right.
Because like, if we didn't learn anything from this stupid COVID shit, which that's going to get that's going to be everybody's worst of the year, of course, is going to be the COVID situation. But I could flip it on its ear and say, well, in 2021, the best, and thanks guys for chiming in, the best part of it could be part of the best too, because we kind of came out of it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
It's not like 2020 where we had ghost towns.
Right.
We had a little bit in the early part of the year, but after that, it started getting back to normal. So as far as at least, what you're seeing with these games, from an aesthetic standpoint, and I know it's not what we want and we're not where we want to be and all that, but I mean, there's, it just depends on how you look at your glass. You know what I'm saying? It depends on how you look at your glass. Is that sucker half full or half empty? So.
Yeah, and you get on there, and again, just the pure aspect of the vitriol and the trolls out there of like, again, the athlete like Simone Biles basically pulling out of certain individual events because of mental health issues, and people are calling her weak, and she quit on it, dude. She's also dealing with being the victim of being sexually assaulted by by the sport doctor, and she survives. She gets it through that and survives that and comes through that, and it just the pressure of everything weighing on you with it. She was the best gymnast in the world, the best gymnast ever.
Yep.
And you got this stress and this weight on your shoulders that you're dealing with on top of it. And you're fat son of a bitch sitting in your goddamn basement typing on there. Yeah, real fucking tough guy, you son of a bitch.
Well, and that once again, that goes to the, and it just goes to show you, like you said, the trolls that are out there, the people that are just scum. You know, anybody that says that has zero experience in having anything like that in their lives. Right. Like they don't know what it's like to perform at the highest level with everything on the line, and then having to in working your whole life for something, and then having to make a decision that you don't even want to make. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't have a choice. Like let's be real about it. You know, when you have a mental health, issue, you don't have a choice in the matter. You didn't pick that. You know what I'm saying? You didn't go, okay, this is what I want to happen today. And then you have to, you have to deal with it. It's a situation that's there. And just because it's invisible doesn't mean, see, this is the thing. People I feel like if people can't see it, then it's not real.
Right.
It's the same thing with this COVID nonsense. It's like, because it's invisible and it doesn't affect them, then it's not real.
Right.
Like, we have to stop that mentality. I mean, really.
Right. Unless it affects you personally on it, it doesn't exist or whatever. That's what they're saying out there.
That's the way it feels.
Kiss my
with
ass.
A lot of stuff,
right.
Oh, yeah. If I'm not personally touched by it, then it's not, it's not a real thing. It's no big deal. Suck it up. Stop being because that's, when you tell somebody to suck it up over a mental health issue or stress when they're going through certain kind of thing, think about what it takes, the kind of training and time and dedication, and like you, the guy behind the keyboard never put that kind of time and dedication into anything, or he wouldn't have typed something that ignorant.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and to think that you would willingly just throw that away over something that isn't a real issue, that's, oh, I'm soft. No, dude, no, you've been working your whole life to get here. And now you're here, and because of this situation, you feel the need that you have to do this. That's we should feel, some empathy for this person. And
I think that's
I don't understand how it goes the other way. Is there a chemical imbalance in the brain? I don't understand. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, so I mean, I think again, especially any athletes in the Olympics, they've dedicated their better part of their life to get to that moment.
Right. And there's only a small window.
And all the sacrifices they've made and their parents have made for them to get through the training and doing all this stuff on there. Yeah, it's a lot of, and again, just dealing with it, especially with somebody at the premiere on there that's in their third Olympics out there. That's basically has been the best for, again, better part of 7 years. Yeah, it's going to weigh on you with it. And thing on there. Another aspect, I think, a plus side is the whole with Tiger Woods with the crash, get back in February. I mean, he came really close to dying, and he came really, really close to losing the leg.
Yes.
And he's out there and just, a couple weeks ago playing in a tournament with his kid.
And that's you see lots of that here in the text line too, and people also getting in on this. And guys, you can. Some more. I'll put that line back out there for you, because when you start getting on a mental health, there's a stigma and people don't want to talk about it. It feels like our anonymous text line is a place for people to talk about it, because we're getting a lot of that kind of info, text. So that's, keep it coming, 313-307-5340. But a lot of people deal with that stress, and so they shelter themselves from people because because of those kind of idiots, and then that doesn't help your mental state of being, right? Like when you, and that's, we should have learned that through this pandemic, right? When you're isolated and you're away from people that can help that, or you're just away from people in general, it has a negative effect on your mental health, your state of your mental health.
You're already dealing with a lot of issues. You're going to be dealing with being total isolated and having no social support group whatsoever.
Right.
It's like, Jesus. It's got to weigh a lot on you.
Yeah, and people, we need to, and guys, we get into these big, deep conversations across the internet and on news, mainstream media, whatever, all the time about, we need to fix this, and you want to fix school shootings with gun control. You want to fix this with regulate that. You want to fix. No.
You have to fix
you
the-
fix all of that by dealing with mental health.
right?
Like, right, you know what I'm saying?
And
like,
it will take care of everything else.
yeah, like you can just do this under one umbrella. If we invest in our infrastructure, which is our brain, and we invest in our mental health, then it will just be a better place.
It will be a better place.
You want to stop with the gas station shootings and the Karens at the Walmart and the school shootings and the internet trolling and all these other things. Like, then we need to deal with mental health.
You have to deal with mental health. You have to be
a
little
bullying, cyberbullying.
Yes.
You know, whatever the case may be, the mental anguish that goes along with people that are victimized. You know, where they feel they can't speak out, like all these mental. We should be. We fix all of these things. We're putting pedophiles away faster. We're stopping other crimes because people feel that there's not a stigma and they can talk about it and they have a place to go and we react to it. Like, there's a whole societal thing that goes along with this. It's like it's so encompassing, and if we don't ever figure that out, if we don't ever understand that is the fundamental beginning of everything that makes us human beings, and that we don't work on that, then we're doomed no matter what.
We're doomed no matter what. Just whether it happens in 5 years, 10 years, 50 years, 100 years.
And it's like crazy, and it's not like finding the meaning of life or anything here, but it's like, have enough clarity to understand.
Just be a little empathetic, be a little understanding. Listen, you know what? Sit there and listen to somebody. Just let them talk, and you can sit there and be quiet and listen to them.
Sure.
Again, being kind. Guess what? These things don't cost you anything.
Nope.
They're absolutely free.
Absolutely.
And you're going to feel better, and the person you're listening to and helping out is going to be better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that hard.
And really, if you want to get like extreme with it and you want to really hit home with it, you know, that one guy that you have that conversation with, he could be on the verge of losing his mind, and you could have pushed him over the edge, and he could go into the office tomorrow or in an hour and shoot the joint up, or you could have diffused the situation,
and he'll be better off, and he'll help out,
and maybe he'll take a deep breath, and then maybe he'll go talk to somebody or something.
He'll seek out the professional help that he needs.
Maybe,
just because you showed a little interest.
Just maybe. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But would you rather be wrong for the right reasons or right for the wrong reasons?
I'd rather be.
You know what I'm saying?
And again, just by doing that, you're going to help him, and eventually it's going to catch on to him, and he'll get the help that he needs, and he'll be better off with it, and he'll pass it on. He'll do the same thing under. Doing stuff like that is contagious.
Well, and that's
on a good aspect with it.
Yeah.
It'll spread like wildfire.
Well,
on a good aspect where things will be better off for everybody in the long term. Just by doing the simple little things out there that make us a human being.
You know what'll happen, and it happens all the time, right? Like when you go and you help somebody and you do something, other people will all of a sudden start helping. The ones that were just watching before are now helping, right? So if you do that enough, then guess what? You're affecting how other people are reacting in a positive way. Then you're handing it down to your offspring because they've watched you do this your whole life or their whole life as a natural just act, and they will do that. And they will affect the people around them the same way.
Right.
And then eventually enough of that is going around that other people will pick up on that and do the same kind of thing. Like that's how you affect change. And it really starts with the mental health thing and just being taking a couple of seconds to be empathetic. Now I have to admit I'm as guilty as anybody of getting all caught up in whatever's got me caught up that day, right? Because shit happens. You get kicked in the nuts every day, Moose, right? Like that happens. It's real. Life likes to kick you in the nuts. But we at some point in time, and I'm like I said, I'm as guilty as anybody else, man. Like
I'm not perfect. I go down there,
but we gotta,
But there's certain times and certain things on there that I do try to be a better person with it. I do stick up again. I try to help those out that truly need the help of that. There are those trolls out there that I do go down the rabbit hole. Right. I have to. Because again, I don't like. And then
you are a pusher back of bullies, and that's fine.
I am a pusher back, but I don't like bullies whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
And if I see a bully, well, guess what? I'm gonna come at you a little bit under.
Yeah.
But if I see somebody that needs help in it, I'm gonna help them out.
Yep. That's the same thing. I was the guy when I was in high school or just after, the college years, quote unquote. I was the guy that picked the dude up from the mosh pit floor. Like, you don't let him get his head stomped in. You pick the guy up. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we've turned into a society of that, just like let the guy try to get up on his own while everybody's stomping.
Help somebody out.
Yeah, and so nobody's really helping anybody up anymore.
Again, give somebody a helping hand out there. And again, I think that's the aspect of what will make us a better society on here if we just take a little bit of time.
Well, there's a thing here, and I see it trending here in 2021, and people are talking about and we're getting into what's the best and worst of the year, guys. And it's gotten kind of off the sports rail a little bit, but not really, because this ties into all the CTE and mental health that goes on in with athletes, and that's where it's gotten spun into real life here. But when you deal with like these mental health challenges, one of the big ones that I see trending this year, and I hope keeps going that way, is the stigma that, me and Moose, we definitely grow up on. And if you're any older than us, then you definitely were in this mode where, be a man, be a man about this, be a man about that. Don't be soft. It's a next level of kind of what we're talking about here, right?
Yeah.
Just because of your gender. Right now, it's a little bit different. People are more understanding of, how people identify themselves and different things like that. So those stigmas are kind of gone away, but like, you don't play with dolls, and you don't show your soft side, and you don't, none of that, and you're tough guy, and you handle this, and you carry that on your back, and you carry the weight of your family on your shoulders, and all those kinds of things that to get put on you. I see more of a trend of like, hey, you can't put that all on one guy or one person or one whatever and expect them to be able to last, and then act like, we're something less than what we are, than human, because we don't hold up to that kind of pressure.
Yes.
And so built-in societal pressure. So, and look, there's built-in societal pressures for everybody. So like a middle-aged white guy shouldn't be bitching, and I'm not. But I do like the fact that, everything. And
it does go in a second. And again, it does relate to sports because we'll get into the worst, and that is getting worse, especially on NFL for coaching wise. It's Urban Meyer.
Yeah. I'm with you in the Urban Meyer debacle, which is it's heavy in here. Beer Can Dan and many others have chimed in here on the text line and have Urban as their worst.
Yes.
And the way that ended was a complete shitstorm. I didn't even really, I thought about it, but it's so fresh and so new, but it really isn't, because it's been stewing for how many weeks, right? And then just kind of the way it all went down when he went there, and how he just leaves teams anyway, and like everything about him is just so grimy. So
yeah,
it feels like it's been a carryover all year long. So, and
it's the aspect with it. I mean, and again, much as I rip on Paul Feinbaum, I think he's, but he did call it out immediately back in like March when they hired him. It's like, this is not going to end well.
No,
it's going to end epic proportions, disaster, and it's going to be a lot sooner than you guys think.
Yeah,
because again, he says, and again, he agree, and I agree with him on this aspect. Is why did he fail? Why did he lose? Because he doesn't have character.
No,
he's a good, maybe he's a good X and O's guy, but he doesn't have character within himself and honor in the way he treats people. And then that's the whole aspect that we get with the mental health. How he treats his players, his coaches, the coaches that he hired, and just generally everybody around him like absolute garbage.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? That's going to come back and bite you in the ass every fucking time.
Yeah.
And we have here, we've got like Dan Campbell, who's, again, I don't think he's a very good coach, and I think he's over his head. But the aspect is he might be a decent human being, and he treats his players decently, and his players love him for it.
Right.
I mean, it's just simple little things on there where people say, you know what? You can't help root for the guy, and then Urban, you go, God, I want him to fail because he's an unmitigated bastard.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, I don't
Absolutely.
care whether you're a bad, good coach. It's just the personality that you have. And we got Belichick, who kind of does a 180. They come back and apologize for being shorted on there.
Right.
Yes, you're starting to see little changes and little quirks and everything with it on there, And I think this aspect with ISIS it is good, and the whole aspect of, players, again, some players are bracing on there. Some guys like Cole Beasley, who basically is blaming everybody but himself for the aspect of why he's not playing. Dude, they pulled a guy that was on the team who wasn't playing much. They threw him in the lineup, and he goes off for 100-something yards and like 11 catches against New England, and they basically blow out New England last weekend. So, dude, you can be replaced. They found your replacement, and he's already on the roster.
Yeah. Right.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Your bullshit level is way higher than your talent level is right now.
Yeah.
And guess what? If you're not available, you're not getting good to us. The best ability is availability. And you being a tool like that and basically trying to blame everybody else, it's a system. And no, it's not the system. You had protocol. You don't want to get the vaccine? Fine. But here's the protocols which you have to go by to deal with it. And if you don't, then that's what you're going to have consequences for it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is, man. Like, you have the choice,
Yes.
so it's just one of those things. And I mean,
we got that. We got Aaron Rodgers. He had his thing is his talent is still higher than the bullshit level. But, again, it's going to come down to where people are going to say, you know what?
It's already turning into we need to stop listening to what Aaron Rodgers says.
Right.
We need to just tune him out because really what he says is ignorant and dangerous.
Yes.
And, just because he can throw a football really good,
Right.
we shouldn't hold credence in what he says. So we all need to stop giving him the attention that he craves because he's like that and just get it done. He's just an attention whore, man. If he didn't play football, he'd be one of these Twitter trolls.
Okay, yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know what to say. So, we just kind of... And that's been a kind of a bad, kind of a worst thing when you think about it. But my worst of the year is the damn Jake Paul shit. I'm so done with this guy. Can he go away? Will somebody just please book
Beat the
him?
shit out of him?
Just book him a real fighter, man.
Yes.
Please.
Not some overweight, overaged, washed up MMA fighter and have him box. Fight a real boxer. You know what? Here it is. You can train for a year, and we're going to get you into a real bout. Somebody that's basically the same weight class as you, but a legit boxer.
I'm not even sure how Woodley got cleared to have those two fights. I mean, the dude has got the CTE issue too. You know what I'm saying? He's had so many concussions and knockouts and stuff that I don't even know how they cleared him to fight. So I don't want to bury Woodley, but it is you fought an ex-NBA player that isn't trained to fight anything. You fought, who else did you fight? You haven't fought anybody.
Well, Merriweather was basically just did it for a payday on there. But it was a draw on there. He didn't do anything. He just kind of died there. But no, find a real boxer out there in the prime of his career and let them, you know what, here it is. We'll give you a year to train and then you're going to get in a bout with him.
All right.
Let's see what you do against a legit boxer. You want to put on the weight and go against a heavyweight? Fine. You go against Tyson Fury or DeAndre Wilder and see what happens.
Yeah, right.
You want to go a heavyweight? Fine. Put on 60 pounds. Come in at 220, fight Tyson Fury. He will destroy you in a round.
Who did he say he wanted?
He wants Tommy Fury. I know that. No. Tommy got injured, so that's why he had to fight Woodley again.
No, he called somebody else out. He gave him a big payday, and I can't remember who it was. Man, but
was it Conor McGregor?
Well, I know that one got kind of tossed around at some point or another. But I can't remember who it was. I don't know. He anybody in his weight class that's had more than 5 fights.
Right.
That's it. Anybody in his weight class that's had more than 5 fights, I want to see him in there. If he holds his own and he's and he points out or he wins or whatever, then we'll start talking, right?
Yeah.
Then start putting a string of those matches together.
Don't put any stupid little bylaws in there. You can't knock him out. No. Nothing's on the table. Guess what? No. You find a legit boxer, they have the absolute right and the obligation to kick the living crap out of you.
If you want to be considered legitimate, you're not handpicking your opponents that are guys that aren't in the discipline. You get to fight Fight a guy. You've quote unquote had 5 professional fights. You find a guy that's had 5 pro fights, that's in your weight class, and you fight him, a boxer.
Right.
That's all I'm asking. You don't even have to fight an elite guy. None of that stuff.
No.
And if you beat him, then you can step up to another guy that's had more wins and is maybe fast tracking. And then if you beat him, then we'll start talking about you're a boxer.
Then you can fight contenders and see what happens.
Then we can start talking about you're like this great boxer, dude. You're a YouTuber. You're an
overglorified tough man competition guy.
And this is a more all-encompassing worst of the year, but this year we've mastered the art of making idiots famous.
Yes.
I mean, between the Island Boys, that's another one I got in here as the worst of the year. The Island Boys. Have you seen those idiots?
No.
Oh my God. Google that shit and watch them on YouTube. There's chromosomes missing or something. I've never seen anything like it. It's just when you get a chance, when we're on our break, whatever, and tell me the Island Boys isn't the dumbest thing you've ever. I mean, I guess this goes back to Jerry Springer days. We've been mastering this art since back then.
Again, Idiocracy is becoming a freaking documentary.
But we gotta stop.
We're this close to Idiocracy, which was a truly underrated comedy on there about the dumbing down of the world and that on there. And it's now looking like it's basically like Nostradamus, that they're foretelling the future.
Oh my goodness.
People are and again, I've always been saying this for 30 years under the Jerry Springerizing of America. It's like, dude, this is basically dumbing down the country. It's dumbing down society on it. And then people go on these shows under it and they're shocked. I'm like, what do you mean on there? It's like, what the fuck did you think was going to happen?
Yeah. Oh, I know.
You're going to Jerry Springer. You know nothing's good's going to happen. You're not getting a pony, for God's sakes.
I know.
Again, I had an ex-girlfriend out there and on there with it, and she is basically a legitimate Jerry Springer episode waiting to happen. And I'm waiting to get that letter. You've been invited to Chicago for the Jerry. Guess what? It's going in the garbage.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going.
Hell no.
Because I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
No.
Yep, that's going to be a dumpster fire.
She's a train wreck, and we broke up for a reason why.
Yeah.
She's a train wreck.
That's going to be a mess. Oh, jeez. All right, Moose. We'll get into some more of the best and worst. You guys, thank you for getting us started on all these. There's a bunch of good ones here of the year. We'll break down some other stuff. We got our pick'ems and all that, NFL, NBA. We'll do some current stuff. Let's get a break in here, Moosey.
Yes, we'll take a quick break here, and we'll be back. We'll get into the college football playoffs there. We'll get into our pick'ems, and we'll get into all sorts of craziness out there with it on there. And again, who's going to be our next coaching casualty in the NFL? When we get on the flip side, I am Moose. This is Scrappy, and we are DSR2 Studio 57 Radio.
You're listening to Studio 57 Radio, your home for underground hip-hop, rap, and R&B. Studio 57 Radio.
Party people, this is the original Doc Ice, and you are definitely listening to Studio 57 Radio. And if Studio 57 Radio isn't on, then your radio ain't really on. Check that.
You're listening to Studio 57 Radio, your home for underground hip-hop, rap, and R&B. Studio 57 Radio.
Hey everybody, Scrappy here to tell you about That Radio Show. Hang with me as I break down the world of entertainment with great guests, celebrity interviews, awesome games with wonderful prizes. Also, we've got the biggest library of underground hip-hop of any station on the net. You mix in a little stand-up comedy and a text line so your voice can be heard, and you got a pretty good little show. But add listener-controlled programming? Yeah, you heard me. The listener-controlled programming, where you, the listener, can decide what makes it on the air. And now you've got the greatest show ever created. So join my show, your show, our show, the people's show, That Radio Show, each and every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, only here on Studio 57 Radio.
Hey everybody, this is your boy Big D, here to tell you about Mark for Life Tattoos. Guys, this place is the cleanest, most laid-back studio in Metro Detroit, and the artists are top-notch. And if you're like me from the D, you need to stop in on Fridays for that D-Day and get your Old English D for only $20. Not interested in tattoos? Mark for Life does body piercings. Mark for Life is located at 22533 Van Dyke in Warren, and the guys are there 7 days a week from noon to 9. So give them a call at 757-2222. That's 586-757-2222. Tell them Studio 57 sent you and get 20% off. So what are you waiting for? Call them now.
Hey everybody, Smokey here to tell you about Allstate Tire. With winter fast approaching, the most important thing between you and the road is your tires. So don't put your safety in just anybody's hands. Go to Allstate Tire. With new and quality used tires available, you can trust Allstate Tire for all your tire needs. You can visit them at 14208 9 Mile Road in Warren, or give them a call at 586-779-8759. Allstate Tire, your source for quality new and used tires.
What's happening, everybody? Scrappy here to tell you about Love and Life Club. Love and Life Club is a social networking club that's located at 19960 James Cousins. That's a Lodge service drive between 7 and 8 Mile Road in the D. You need to stop in for $5 Fridays for great music, food, and drinks. I personally recommend the chicken. Love and Life Club is also available for rental for bachelor parties, wedding receptions, or any party for that matter. For more information, log on to www.loveandlifeclub.com. That's loveandlifeclub.com, or call D at 313-999-2824. That's 313-999-2824. That's Love and Life Club. If you're loving life, you need to be in the club.
Taking over this broadcast for the ultimate underground.
Studio 57 Radio Original. You know, when you hear that sound, you're gonna have a good time, because that's the sound of the Ultimate Underground live concert webcast from the Detroit area. We go to the most famous, or should I say, infamous venues in the D, and bring the underground music scene from the streets to your computer like nobody else can. There's only one catch. You never know when and where the Ultimate Underground is going to take over a broadcast. So you need to stay tuned to Studio 57 Radio all day, every day, for clues on when and where the next Ultimate Underground may happen. Now, there's no other station on the net that's going to give you this live webcast of some of the hottest artists in the D. That's the Ultimate Underground live on your home for hip-hop, rock and metal, Studio 57 Radio, baby.
Goodbye.
You get what you want, cause we got what you need. Studio 57 serving streets of the D. Recording, mixing, mastering, or great beats. We do what we do to keep you hot on the streets. You get what you want, cause we got what you need. Studio 57 serving streets of the D. Recording, mixing, mastering, or great beats. We do what we do to keep you hot on the streets. Studio 57 is a 32-track digital recording studio that utilizes Cool Edit, Logic Pro, Shure, AKG, Sennheiser, Yamaha, Korg, Mackie, Boss, Ibanez, Fender, Fruity Loops, and many, many more to make your music pop. Experienced and friendly engineers make Studio 57 feel like you're home away from home. With beat creation, mixing, mastering, digital media conversion, and DJs for any event, Studio 57 Records is your one-stop shop for all your music entertainment needs. We have online bill pay and flexible payment schedules that makes Studio 57 the place to be. For more information, visit Studio57records.com. That's www.studio57records.com. Or call us at 586-420-3390. That's 586-420-3390. Or log on to Studio57records.com. And just remember one thing, baby.
We get what you want because we got what you need. Studio 57 serving streets of the D. Recording, mixing, mastering, or great beats. We do what we do to keep you hot on the streets. You get what you want because we got what you need. Studio 57 serving streets of the D. Recording, mixing, mastering, or great beats. We do what we do to keep you hot on the streets.
Party people, this is the original Doc Ice, and you are definitely listening to Studio 57 Radio. And if Studio 57 Radio isn't on, then your radio ain't really on. Check that.
You're listening to Studio 57 Radio, your home for underground hip-hop, rap, and R&B. Studio 57 Radio.
All right, guys, we're geeking out behind the scenes. We went and saw the Spider-Man movie last night. No spoilers here, or yesterday. No spoilers here, but I recommend it if you're into those movies. And I recommend hanging out here for our New Year's or end-of-year bash as we smoke fat cigars, have a couple of beverages, and shoot the shit. Sorry about the technical difficulties here and there, but still hiccuping or doing whatever. Check over the YouTube channel and or come back later as I'll upload the video. But we got plenty to get into here in the second half. We're going to go over a little because we are a little late getting in. So, hey, party with us. Let's do this thing. I'll get the text line back up for you and we'll have some fun. So without further ado, let's get to session 2 here of DSR2. I am Scrappy and here's Johnny the Moves.
Hey, we're back here for the second half of DSR2. So we said we're going to run a little bit longer tonight because, again, we had some technical difficulties and we still got a lot of shit to carry into it. So we'll get to that as well on it. But yeah, we'll get into right now as we got the college semifinals of coming out there on Friday, and we got Bama versus Cincinnati. Yes, a non-Power 5 team gets into the playoffs, so we'll see what happens there. Cincinnati will be joining the Pac-12 after the 2023 season when the new TV deal comes up there. So yes, this will be probably their last shot as a non-Power 5, and then they'll be part of the Power 5 the next time when they get up into it. So, but yeah, as we said, is on there. And again, we've got bowl games going on there. If you can get a bowl game, if your team doesn't opt out and everything with it. And then there's guys out there, and there's people out there chiming in, the trolls out there of like guys sitting out the bowl game on there. Well, what, it's part of a team and you need a dude. They're making business decisions. They are, again, top 3-round picks in the NFL. They need to make a business decision on it because this relates to their future wise with it. You don't want a guy going into it. Ask Jake Butt, who basically played in the Orange Bowl, who was possibly a first-round pick at tight end and ended up being the 5th rounder. Of course, his knees are made out of paper mache, blows out both knees again. And now he's doing. Now he's actually working for the Big Ten Network, as doing some color commentary in that. And he does show a future as an announcing him and former Michigan quarterback Devin Gardner. Both guys are showing some. They've got some talent there to do the broadcasting, and eventually, is once they go to the Big Ten, they'll get a couple years in, and they'll move up onto the big networks eventually on there. I do believe that on there. But yeah, we got the first game on there. We got Cincinnati versus Alabama there. I'm not sure how. Again, I think Bama's going to win this one.
Yeah.
Can Cincinnati at least keep it within 2 touchdowns? I don't know.
We talked about it when the rankings came out and how they have this all set up to have Bama in the final.
It was totally fixed on here, and it's like that. This whole part with the committee is all bullshit on there with it, and it's like, so yeah. I mean, you know what? Fine, Michigan got to beat who they got to beat and get to the final and hopefully win a national title. Fine, that's it on it. But again, the whole aspect of like, oh, we got to have Georgia and all right, whatever. But the whole aspect of Bama jumping from 3 to 1, whereas Michigan didn't do anything wrong. They went out there and took care of Iowa and blew them out. Yet they get punished by, they stayed the same, but they could have moved up to 1 on there, and it's fine, whatever, with it. But yeah, they didn't want a rematch. Then don't select Georgia into the damn playoffs.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it to me.
I mean, if Oklahoma doesn't shit the bed against Baylor, maybe Oklahoma State gets into the damn playoffs over Georgia. Who knows?
To me, when you set it up to have these teams in there, you can't now say, well, we don't want a rematch. Well, you set it up for these cats to be in here. The way you ranked the last couple of weeks of the season, you set it up for these cats to be in there. There was no way anybody was going to leapfrog anybody or do anything. You guys set this all up. Don't give me that bullshit. And that's what bothers me about the four-team system. But like what we said when we pushed for it was that we're not pushing for the 4, we're pushing for the 8 to 12.
Right.
But you can't get there without dealing with the 4.
No.
And 4's right now when you have a committee picking 4 teams out of all the it's stupid. It's dumb. This is what we bitched about the BCS and all this other nonsense before because like it wasn't being determined on the field. And in the end, we're not really determining anything on the field because you're setting up these matchups to be what you want to do. You don't reseed shit based on what you want to see. Like the NBA tournament doesn't. The NBA doesn't get to the Eastern Conference Finals and go, oh, this is a rematch from last year. We're going to reseed them. We're going to move them around. They don't do that. Nobody does that. No sport does that in any other time at any other place. So it's stupid. So I mean, but that's what you want. That was the point, to get the door open just enough that you can kick it in.
Right. Yes. Because again, we know we know the expansion's coming down there, but it's going to be when the new TV deal comes out there. Because again, the NCAA and various conferences aren't all that thrilled that ESPN has a stranglehold on the entire college football playoffs.
Oh, I mean, they get somebody's got like a game, but beyond that, they've got them all.
Yes.
And that's what's going on with this TV deal, and that's the whole thing. That's why they can't. There may be a loophole in this contract somewhere where they can get out early, like an option year where they might be able to, renegotiate or something like that. But that's why you can't really get out of this deal, because then it locks ESPN in even longer.
Right.
You can't break this contract, so to speak. Now, that doesn't mean there isn't a loophole that can be, exploited, or there isn't an out somewhere. But I just don't see it. I don't know what it is. And, right now, nobody's happy. The ESPN product, that's another one that probably should be the worst of the year. And I'm surprised it hasn't gotten any nominations here in the text line. You guys have been good with that today. Appreciate you. But that whole scenario. It's just a diaper.
Yes, absolutely, with that on there. So yeah, we got on there, but yeah, as we said, is Bama's favored by 13.5 on there. Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting on there. Cincinnati wise, if they've got a nice quarterback out there, their secondary is actually really good wise on there. So it's gonna be interesting about Bama on there. With them, because again, Bama's lost Minchie. He's out with the ACL injury, so he's out, and you've got Williams out there, their speeder out there, but they got a good secondary to face against Cincinnati. So this is gonna be interesting on there. I do believe that Bama wins on this one. They may just squeak by, like win by 2 touchdowns. With it, I don't see them losing it. I don't see any scenario, unless Bryce Young gets hurt, that they're going to lose to Cincinnati. I just don't see it.
No.
With it on there.
And that's
but again,
what they
this
want.
is not the greatest Cincinnati. The Bama team on there. This is not Bama from last year. Trust me, that Bama from last year was the best team I've seen in God knows how long.
Right.
That team was just loaded. You had first round draft picks at receiver wise. You had a first round draft pick at quarterback wise under. You had a great defense. You had a great offensive line. Great running back wise under. This is Bama team doesn't have very good tackles on the offensive line. Their running game is not all that good. Yeah, they can pass the ball. Bryce Young is a great quarterback. He's a phenomenal quarterback, and he will be the number one pick when he decides to come out in that. But the defense is suspect. On there, yes, they got the one guy out there that can get some rushing on there and get some sacks in that. Who was again the best led the NCAA football with sacks in that. But dude, this is not a classic Bama team. This is not one of their best teams out there on there with it. It just happens to be is Georgia. Kirby Smart will go Kirby Smart again. Like we said with Harbaugh, he'll basically do some batshit stupid shit.
Right.
He gets tight around the neck of that, and again.
Well,
Stetson Bennett's the worst quarterback of the four.
All right. Well, I'm hoping this is why, as a Michigan fan, and you look at this Final Four situation, if Michigan can win this game, anything can happen.
Anything can happen on it.
And I get it. Cincinnati, I agree with you. I don't think Cincinnati. It's just a matter of do they get run out of the building or not. And we play the games for a reason. So. All that being said, we could talk all this trash and Cincinnati could pull the upset, but Bama is there for the taking, in my opinion, to a certain extent, right? And if Michigan can get there, I mean, they're pretty battle tested.
Yeah.
So I think then you start talking about, wait a minute, they weren't supposed to be here.
No, because they are the first team. And since the playoffs and even the BCS to be unranked at the beginning of the season,
right,
and go to the playoffs or essentially is be ranked in there in the top two under the season on there with it. And again, if they had the old BCS under, they'd be playing Bama for the national championship game,
right?
The championship on there. Now it's the playoffs, so we got the semifinals. But yeah, I mean, this is the Michigan team that is battle tested. I mean, we've been saying it all season. The Big Ten East is the best division in college football. And it came November, they basically killed each other. They feasted. They basically ate each other up.
Well, that's the thing. They
Michigan was the survivor who basically went through the gauntlet of November, and they came out unscathed.
Yeah, I mean, and we talked about it earlier. You know, as I got into my best of the year, which would be the Michigan turnaround, was you just from a standpoint of the Michigan State game, just felt like that was the knob, the key that turned the whatever, the drink, the stir that stirred the drink.
If you look at all the aspects of all the statistics and everything with it, Michigan might be the best all-around team in college football.
When I look at it, that's kind of what I see, but I look through maize and blue glasses, right? Because we're fans of the team, so I look at it that way. I don't think from a national perspective everybody else does. I don't think people have bought into Harbaugh, not like you say, getting tighter on the collar. And kind of jamming things up, or maybe even just overachieving at this point, and then it all come crashing down. I think a lot of that sentiment is still kind of buried out there. So I think that's why you're seeing it the way it was, and that's kind of the way it played out with the rankings.
Yeah,
and
if they
all
look
of
at that on there, but they look at if you just look for.
But yeah, if you just look,
which teams led the nation in most explosive plays on there for plays over 50 yards on there? Michigan leads the country.
Right.
They have the most plays of over 50 yards. And it's not just passing yards. It's also running games and everything with it. So they have this basically balanced attack on there.
Great defense, great offensive line. I mean, they're ticking all the boxes. The running game is
the receivers have gotten a lot better as the season gone. The secondary's gotten way better over the season on there, how that's gone through it. And you look at the defensive line, the running backs, the linebackers, everything, every aspect of this game. And we've got the best kicker in the game. I mean, again, special teams says a lot. Moody can kick it from 50-plus yards. You don't have to worry about it. He's going to get you points.
This is the whole thing. If Harbaugh doesn't freak out with the play calling and the management, the clock management at the end, and they don't turn over the ball, I don't see why they're not in the championship game.
No.
I don't see why they don't have a chance to win it all.
Yeah.
I mean, those seem to be pretty like elementary things to be looking at, but like when you start looking at, like you said, their overall game, that's their weaknesses, right? Is if the coach starts fucking like melting down, or if they start like turning over the ball, because they're not a penalty prone team. It doesn't feel like,
and they don't turn the ball over either.
right?
That's weird.
So it's like those two things. So I guess maybe those are the three things you're looking for. I mean, but that would be for any team. But if you're not turning the ball over, I mean, that to me, that's where it's at. Like if you're not turning the ball over, and then your clock management, stuff like that, you know, you can survive a couple penalties here and there, unless you just start like shitting the bed everywhere. But I mean, they haven't done that up to this point, so it wouldn't make sense.
No.
Now turnovers can happen. You can start having a run of turnovers. So that you got to be careful of, right? Like your quarterback has been pretty good, you know, especially across the middle, but he starts throwing interceptions, or you start getting the fumbles, then
Yeah.
that's a problem. As to where I just don't see all of a sudden, you know, false starting and holding on every. Well, I mean, I guess you could get holding on every play if you're getting blown out, you know, if you're getting blown off the line. But that's the whole thing that we haven't had to worry about with them. The offensive line, the defense has been playing well. They're not getting like blown off the spot. So I don't know. We'll see how it all pans out. But those games, it doesn't matter any way you slice it. The 3 games that you're going to get are going to be good, I would think. I mean, I don't know how people look at this thing, but even if it's Bama and whoever else, whether it's Michigan or
They
Georgia,
said
it
how
should still be
Michigan's
good.
played is their best defenses they played on there this year. On it was obviously Iowa, Ohio State, and Wisconsin. They've actually scored 30-plus points on all 3.
I love the excuse of they don't want to have the rematch, but you've set it up for the rematch to be in
for the
fucking
championship game.
It's so stupid.
They get the damn rematch in the semifinals and be
Right.
done with it.
Yeah.
Well, they again, obviously, what they want an all SEC. Of course, ESPN's in bed with the SEC network, so
That's
yeah,
why
they want an all SEC championship. Again, I don't want it. Again, I don't think it's gonna. I still think Michigan's gonna beat Georgia, and then we'll see whatever happens happens.
Yeah. I got Bama and Michigan in the championship game. Who wins it? That's a tougher call.
I love to see Michigan win it, and then that'll basically shut everybody up on it. Well, you haven't won a damn championship since like the 40s, outright. Well, again, if we win this one, then what are you gonna say?
All right.
Especially from your Spartan fans, and they're gonna say, "Well, we beat you. That's great. What did that get you? Got us a national title.
All right.
Kiss my ass."
Yeah. I mean, well, once again, it doesn't. You know, if you're arguing goofy, silly, dumb things, then I don't have time for you. Like, because your frame of mind, your thought process is flawed. So nothing I say is gonna fix that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing I'm gonna say in even 2 hours, let alone in a statement or 30 seconds or whatever. That's gonna.
And then with the whole
Fix
on there,
that.
with that, like a bunch of the guys from Ohio State opting out now, they're not going to play in the Rose Bowl, so they're going into obviously with the two of the receiver, their two big receivers are opted out on there. Don't be surprised if Utah beats Ohio State.
Well, that's the whole thing, and I get why people are upset. But you talked about it earlier. You're making a business decisions. Yeah, I mean,
Both guys, for the guys that are opting out for Olivier and Williams, Wilson are opting out. Dude, they're first round draft picks.
right? Yeah. My whole thing is just take a second and think about this for a minute. You were lucky enough to be able to play a sport at a real high level in high school.
Yeah.
So then a university, a major university says, "Hey, we're going to pay your way, and we want you to come play football for us." So then you go and you play football at a high level. Now you're getting to the point where you can go and make some real money that's going to change your entire life. It's going to change not just your entire life, but generations of your family's lives. It's just, that's what's going to happen. And so you're going to tell me that because you quote unquote have loyalty for your university, that you've only been there for a couple of years?
Yeah.
And you've got this undying loyalty that you have to stay and play a game that serves zero purpose.
Right. It's a paid exhibition.
It doesn't, if you are not in the championship games, it serves no purpose. I'm sorry. Does it put more on tape for you? Well, sure. But is there not enough tape? You need one more game of tape? You need one more game of tape, really? You don't have all these years of me playing, and you need one more game of tape to be sold on me? No.
I mean, if
That's
you're a
that's
fourth or
bullshit.
if you're possibly
That's
a fourth
bullshit.
or fifth round pick, you're going to play because there's a shot
That's
you can
my
move up to a
point.
second. But if you're guaranteed a first round pick,
Yeah.
you got nothing to play for.
That's what I'm saying.
Nothing.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point. Those guys, if you're a fourth or fifth round pick, you're not opting out of anything. Those
No,
aren't the guys
because
that
you
are
wanna play
opting out.
yeah.
You want to get noticed. As a matter of fact, if you're one of those guys, you're kind of happy these other guys are opting
Because
out.
I'm going to get more on your exposure.
I'm gonna get some more, camera time. I'm gonna get more on tape, so to speak, right? So, like, I don't understand the thought process of why you're angry. You know why you're angry? Because they're not doing what you think they should do. It's that fucking simple. It's that simple. You think that they shouldn't get this money early, that they should pay their dues, quote unquote, and go through college and get their degree and this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, why? In real life, that's not how it happens.
No, it's
People
not.
get jobs and go to school part-time and have kids and try to get their degree. And sometimes it happens later in life and all these different things. And so, no, it doesn't always go to your whatever
Right.
fucking
So you're mad at
whatever
that, but
dumb
you're,
standard
but you're
you
okay,
set.
right? But you're okay with the coach bailing out in December to go to his next program. Who they have legitimate shots at the playoffs, but they're like, no, it's not good enough
I'm not
because I
even-
can't win it with this team on there, so I'm going to another program.
I'm not even going to go there because I can't.
Which I don't blame the coaches. Like they're making business decisions too.
I'm not going to go there because this is the disconnect. When you talk to people about that shit and they have those two views in line, which to me just don't make sense. But if they have those two views in line, it's because they look at the college players as children.
Yes.
And then they look at the coaches as a grown people that are taking care of children. So then they look at it differently. You are a different. So I'm not having that argument because it doesn't work.
No, because
you lose it.
when you're
You lose
21,
that
22 years old, you're an adult anyways.
I know that, but you lose the argument with people
Right.
when you're having that. So I don't even go there.
No,
So
I'm-
my point is you go somewhere where you can make sense to them. If you're out in your fucking job, if you have life-changing money thrown out at you, you're taking that. You're making
Oh,
that
yeah, I'm
decision.
making a decision
Shut
for
the fuck up. Don't tell me that they're not going to do that. If you are in school and going to your favorite school and someone comes to you with a job,
I'm out of there.
and you want to do, if you're going to school to be a filmmaker and you're going to whatever Grand Valley State, and that's the one you wanted to go to, and you traveled all the way here to fucking do it, and you want to get into movies, and this is what you're going to do, and then someone comes along when you're a sophomore or a junior and says, I want you to run my production company, and offers you an unbelievable job to do what your dream job is, but you gotta, do school on the side.
Then I'm doing school on the
then I'm
side.
doing fucking school on the side. I'm going and I'm getting my fucking money and I'm getting my degree at night, like a lot of these guys do.
Right.
Or maybe I don't get my degree because guess what? I'm living out my dream right now.
Right.
And then when I'm done, I can go back and get my degree because guess what's not going anywhere? Higher learning is going nowhere.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
And
I
so
can go basically do my schooling online during the off season and still get
Right.
my degree on it.
Right.
Because again, they're not like opting out as a freshman. They're opting out after junior year. So they're already 2/3 of the way, because most people don't graduate in 4 years, but they're
Right.
already 2/3 of the way through on it. Now you get those weird examples on there. You get like, again, a Pat Tillman that says, dude, you got me for 3 years because I'm graduating in 3 years.
Right.
I'm done. I will have my degree in 3 years, and I'm going pro. So you
Right.
got me for 3. You don't have me for 4, 3. Because I already got he's got his honor. But yeah, you get somebody like Larry Fitzgerald who opted out and went to the pros, has a Hall of Fame career, but he still gets his degree during the off season. Because again, these guys, there's a lot of players out there that get their degrees because they made promises to their parents. Listen, I will have my degree. I mean, come on. Steve Young basically graduated college in the offseason, went to law school in the offseason, passed the bar exam before he's done playing. So he's already a lawyer before he's done playing.
Right. And that's kind of my point is like, when you say things, put yourself in those situations. It's like it's not. You're not. You're not. It's the same thing with me. I went back to school, so I had my kid young. So I didn't, and I was kind of lost, didn't know what I wanted to do after high school. And so I took a couple of years floating around, and I ended up having a kid. And I had to go through all that and take responsibility and be, quote unquote, be a man. We talked about that earlier, right? And so I had to go through that. So going to college wasn't on my things. And so, of course, I'm a musician, and I want to be, I'm doing the music production thing, and I want to be in that field, and I want to do that stuff. And it took me till my kids were, whatever, 12 years old before I got back and got my degree in that. And to this day, I use it, but every day. But I mean, it's not like, I still have a day job,
Right.
and I'm still doing what I got to do, and whatever. But if someone came to me while I was getting my degree and said, "Hey, come over and run our production company," if Marshall walked in here tomorrow and said, "Hey, dude, I need somebody to run Shady Records," I'm out the fucking door.
Right.
I don't finish school.
No.
I fucking go run Shady fucking Records.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So like, you don't tell me that if that happened in your world, that you wouldn't fucking take
I'd
it.
be so gone.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, whatever your orbit is, whatever you're into, whatever your dream is, and that's what you have to understand. These cats are living and what they're doing and what world they're in, what part of the stratosphere that they revolve in.
Because a lot of these kids on there to get these scholarships, a lot of them come from families that don't have shit.
Well, that's the other thing too. You're talking about broken homes and not having anything, and these are things that are just even more
Sacrifices their parents made for them so they could play these various sports and
Yes.
throughout, whether it's junior high and high school and so forth. You know what? Now it's time for me to pay back them.
Oh yeah, and you see a lot of there's just all these layers to this onion that you fools that type that shit and say that shit just you don't even think about, you don't even consider, and that's why when I have a conversation with somebody, I always try to hit them where it counts to them, and then if they just still refuse to kind of understand it, then I know you're one of those. You're one of those. It doesn't matter how much empirical evidence I lay down. It will always just be what you fucking say it and think it is.
Yes.
And nothing will ever change that. And no conversation will ever be had. And you're just somebody that, that's it. That like that. I can't, it's hard to engage with somebody when there is no conversation to be had. So, and I don't know what to say to you at that point. So I just, once again, I kind of goes back to some of our worst of the year with these trolls and stuff like that. But you can't, it goes to the mental health thing we talked about earlier too. It's all of it. It's all encompassing. Right. So just, I don't know. I can't get caught up. I can't, you say these dumb things and it's like, dude, you what do? You work your blue collar job, you go home, you pay your bills, and you take care of your kids, and then you start talking trash about somebody else
because you're not happy in
because
your
you're not
life.
happy. Yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. So, I always guys, if you've been listening to the show for the last 15 effing years, I pretty much put myself in everybody's shoes and play devil's advocate, even if I say it's horseshit, right? I mean, even if I sit here and say, no, that's all bullshit, but wait, let me go. I'll even preface it. I'll even say something. I'll be like, all right, even if I say this, and even if I go that far, and even if all this, it's still bullshit. Like, so I'll still, I'll run the whole gamut. And I just think that, if nothing else, I always kind of put myself in those other positions of like, what would I do if that, how could I relate it to what I got going on in my world? And
again, it doesn't matter whether or not you're at the top of the game or again, like on there, I've got some friends on there, and his oldest son got his degree and everything, and now he's finished up his first year as a position coach for Madonna University or Madonna College. as a football coach.
Sure.
It was on there. But that's his dream job. His dream job is he wanted to coach college football.
Right.
And again, it's a division. I mean, it's a real small school, and they were terrible, but it's their first year. But it's a stepping stone.
Yeah. Yep.
He got his dream job. Whether, again, it depends on how far he goes, but he's there aspect where he got his dream job with it. And he worked his ass off through school and so forth with it, but the same aspect goes with it. These kids sacrifice everything with it to get to these positions, and now they're seeing that basically that treasure chest at the end of the tunnel, and they're like, you know what, now it's for me. I'm going to cash into it and get it so I can help my family out and make sure that I'm taken care of and with it. And they're like, you know what, I don't think you're going to have these aspects of the current athletes out there. You're going to be rare and rare that you're seeing these athletes, especially when they're done, are going to be dead broke.
Right.
You don't see these kids out there, especially with a lot of these younger guys out there. They see with it basically learning from basically mistakes of people that came before him on there.
Sure.
They're like, I'm not going to do that crap.
Sure.
With it.
Well,
So
I think you definitely have more awareness. I think the NFL does more to put
the NFL
programs
does
in
a lot
place.
more. The NBA
They
does a
used
lot
to,
more. Even baseball does a lot more with it. And then, but you're seeing is the more like aspect with it. With these kids are out there to saying they're a little bit more self-aware, and I think they're a little bit more savvy in the real world than we give them credit for.
Sure, absolutely.
You know, they're not buying stupid shit like, oh, yeah, I'm an honor. I mean, we see like Barry Sanders, who pretty much still lives and has a house in Rochester Hills. Nothing spectacular. He doesn't have a man. He's got a nice place in Florida, but he's probably still driving a used car.
Right. Right.
It's just the way they're brought up and everything with it. But yeah, you're just looking at that aspect with it. And again, and I don't blame these kids making business decisions because, again, this is life-changing money.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So we're on the record for our who we got in the championship game, right?
Yep. Michigan and Alabama.
Alabama. All right. We're both on the same page. All right. Let's move forward, Moosey Moose. You know what time it is.
Yeah, it's pick'ems. God, we've been terrible this year, so on there with it. And again, there's been upsets on there. We get every year on there we don't see. But
It's just been a rough go for pick'ems this year, man. I don't know what to say.
It's also too, I'm gonna blame COVID too because we make these pick'ems on like a Wednesday night.
Sure, and then
cats are out on Thursday because they test positive
Yeah.
for COVID. They go, oh hell.
That's why I'm like, if you are out here and doing betting and the gambling, dude, you've got a bigger set than I do.
You better wait till the last moment before placing.
Man.
any
Well,
bets.
we've got live betting, but those odds have got to be wild to mess with. So I don't know, whatever. All right.
All right, so we got no Thursday games. We got no Saturday games. Well, actually, we got Thursday, Friday, and Saturday games, but those are college. But we got pro games starting on Monday.
Right.
I mean, Sunday. So we got on there. So we got first game on there is a 1 o'clock game on there. We actually got like 9 1 o'clock games, so it's a lot of them.
Oh, wow.
So we have a game on there. Yes, Atlanta won last week, but they shouldn't have. They're on the road at Buffalo. It's going to be cold,
Yes.
windy, snow.
Yes.
On there.
Yes, and yes.
The Falcons are a 14.5 point underdog against Buffalo. Buffalo basically showed something last week. They basically took care of business with New England. They needed to win that one on
Yeah,
there.
they did.
And it looks like things gotten right up a little bit on there.
Good
I don't
timing.
see Buffalo losing to Atlanta.
No, not in Buffalo at this time of year. Yeah, I agree with you. It is about timing, though. Life is about timing, and yeah. So they got, Atlanta's not all that. So they need.
Yeah,
to,
they won some games they shouldn't have won on there, and they've been better than we thought they would be this year on there.
Right.
But dude, they are not beating Buffalo in
No.
Buffalo in January.
No.
All right, we got the second 1 o'clock game. The Giants are on the road. They're facing the Chicago Bears. Giants are a 6.5 point dog on this one.
Yeah.
The only team I can see the Chicago being a favorite against is the Giants on this one.
Yeah.
Their general manager's retiring at the end of the year, but their owner already says his new general manager's got to keep the head coach and the quarterback on this one. Jesus, you thought Detroit was basically a clusterfuck on there? The Giants are even worse than that one. But I got them beating Chicago beating them because the Giants are terrible.
Yeah, I'm with you as far as the Bears. Just the Jets are, like you said.
Even though Matt Nagy is
some
dead
mess.
man walking.
Yeah. This is, like you said, this is one of 2 or 3 teams they can beat. So That's why I'm going with it.
Yeah,
Chicago.
Okay. All right, we got actually the first game on it's good news because the Lions aren't playing till 4 o'clock. They're a 4:25 game on this one, so we got game of the week on there. It's actually the early game on there. This is Kansas City on the road against Cincinnati. KC has won 9 in a row. They're a 4.5-point favorite against Cincy. JoJo had a monster game last week against Baltimore, 525 yards under. Burrows may go down as the best quarterback out of that draft.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking that way thus far. I mean, he had a touchdown taken away, or he'd have had 5 of them. He went 525, 4 touchdowns. I mean, he just went off. It's one of those moments where you're like, okay, this guy's putting his little mark on the league now. Can he continue it? We'll find out. I mean, It's hard to continue those kind of rates, but to be able to follow it up with a 300-plus yard game and not turn the ball over would be great. I still don't know if that's enough to beat KC, though.
No, not that. KC's going to be interesting because Clyde Edwards-Helaire is out for the season. I think he's got a ACL injury, so he's
but they got a couple other guys back from COVID.
They got a couple other guys back from COVID on this one. As much as I do like how the way Cincinnati played last week on this one, I got KC winning.
Yeah, it's just, like I said, KC's starting to get healthy at the right time. They've started to prove, and this is what we talked about, what they needed to do earlier in the year when they didn't start off too well, was they needed to do what was successful and not necessarily what's successful now, not necessarily what was successful before. Like, they were throwing the ball over and doing all this crazy stuff, and it was working, and now that's not what's working. Moving the ball on the ground, possessing the clock and the ball.
And the defense has played much better.
So all those things are the ways that they're winning now, and I love the adjustments that they made. And at this point, they've got things rolling on all cylinders, it feels like, or at least close to it. And that is, that'll lead to victory again this week.
All right, we got another game on there that's actually got some playoff implications. Miami, who's actually still in the playoff hunt on there. They're kind of on the outside looking in, but they still got a shot. They're on the road to Tennessee. They're a 3.5-point dog on this one. Tennessee actually looked really good last week on there. A.J. Brown looks like he's healthy on there and looks like a monster on that one. I got Tennessee winning this one because it's at Tennessee on there, and I think the defense and A.J. Brown are playing much better. So.
Right, and they still, even with Henry out, they're still playing, good ball. So I like them to possess that football. Yeah. We talk about time of possession on the clock, all that kind of stuff, and I expect them to do that and once again lead to victory.
All right, so we got another 1 o'clock game. Vegas is on the road at Indianapolis. They're a 7.5-point favorite. Indianapolis actually had a nice game on there. It looks like they have the only non-quarterback player that could be talking to MVP. This is Jonathan Taylor on this one. I got Indy one. Carson Wentz is probably not going to play. He's out with COVID. Doesn't matter. They're going to give the ball to Jonathan Taylor like 70 times.
Yeah, I mean, he may, they're going to start loosening up these protocols as far as, how long you need to, because the new variant, though, it passes quick, it moves around faster, it doesn't stay in, it's not as bad symptomatically wise, it doesn't stay in the system as long, blah blah blah. So the CDC is recommending a 10 to a 5-day quarantine type scenario. Yes. So you're going to start seeing that it getting a little bit better from guys getting back on the field standpoint. So when you start getting the COVID guys back at the right time, that could be good. So, where were we? Who do we got?
We got Vegas and Indy.
And Indy.
On that one. I got Indy.
Yeah, I got Indy with
Vegas
you too.
is just a
Vegas is a mess. They're destroyed, and like I said, if you're getting all your COVID guys back at the right time here, then
so we got Jacksonville. They're on the road against New England. It's gonna be cold, windy, possibly snow. Jacksonville. Trevor, basically, this is a lost year for him. They're going to have to get an offensive guy on there to come in as a coordinator. I think they're going to take either a coordinator and move him into Jacksonville. Obviously, the hot guy is Brian Leftwich, coming in from Tampa, going back to his former team in Jacksonville on this one. But I got New England winning this one. I think they're going to go back to running the game on it. Damien Harris shows that he's a beast on there. Stevenson should be back, so they've got everybody back as well. So give me New England, and I would definitely give up the points against Jacksonville.
Bill Belichick. Next.
Yes.
That's all I got. Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick.
Yep. All right, next
All
game.
right, Carolina is this is the game that nobody needs to watch. We got Carolina. Actually, they're starting Sam Darnold over Cam Newton because Cam Newton is terrible.
Oh, yeah, he's hard.
Everybody's terrible in Carolina.
Everything is horrible.
And New Orleans has no offense, but they got at least some defense on there.
Oh, my God. So it's
I-
going to be
again, whatever the over-under is,
6-5 game.
Take the under on this one, but I got New Orleans winning this one.
Yeah, I got New Orleans winning like a 6-3 game. I mean, that's-
9-3 on this one.
Yeah.
With that on that, so we got there. All right, we got Tampa Bay going up to face the Jets in the MetLife Stadium. Tampa Bay is a 12.5 point favorite on the road. Yeah.
yeah, Tampa over the Jets. That's an easy call.
That's an easy call.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care what kind of situation Tampa's looking at right now.
It's still the Jets.
Yeah.
On this one. All right, we got 1 o'clock. We got Philly against the Washington football team. It's looking like Washington.
Both them teams are bad, but there's no way.
Washington looks like they're just
coming unglued.
They're unglued in that.
Well,
Philly is basically embracing what they can do, and that's what they're doing. They're running the ball.
I don't know what's going on in the locker room there, but that car accident earlier on and the fight on the locker room.
The fight on the sidelines was basically they were getting blown out, so I just kind of put that one because Dallas was still scoring touchdowns on them no matter
You
what.
start putting everything else together, it just feels like it's combustible in that locker room, if I had to guess. So, and that's not good for them. And of course, over there in Philly, Jalen Hurts getting his groove on a little bit.
Yes.
So I would expect him to continue that this week against that horrible team.
So yeah, I got Philly winning this one on there because again on there. Denver, this is the first of 4 o'clock. Denver's going out to LA. They're going to face the Chargers. Denver's a 6.5 point dog. I think again both teams have been. Denver's actually played a little better this season than I anticipated on there because again, with it, Chargers have been up and down.
Yeah,
We don't know what to do on this one.
I don't know.
Being that they were terrible last week on this one, I'm going to take the Chargers winning this week.
Yeah, because it's the alternate thing.
Yes,
You're
up,
back and
down.
forth, back and forth. You're probably right on this one. Just for the sake of doing something different, I'll take Denver. Just because I can't rely on the Chargers whatsoever, and I'm kind of bummed about that. But I'm with you. You're probably right. This should be their upswing week, but I'm just sick of them. I can't
not
do
a
it.
problem with that one. All right, Houston, who's basically cost themselves by winning a couple games,
Yeah,
top 2 pick on there. So Houston is playing Frisco. Frisco's actually still playing for the playoff lies on this one. Houston is a 14.5 point dog on that one. Frisco's going to win this one.
Yeah,
Even without Jimmy G is questionable. Doesn't matter. They're going to run the ball,
Yeah.
and they're going to do what they got to do to win this one.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, the Niners are. They got a good, well-rounded team over there too. So I know Jimmy G is not everybody's cup of tea, but he does get it done when he's on the field. So whether he is or not, though, I don't think it'll matter, like you said. So yeah, I'll take the Niners.
All right, we got Arizona on the road at Dallas. Arizona's lost 3 in a row. Dallas is coming off a huge win on this one. Arizona's a 5.5 point dog. Dallas starts to look like they're rolling.
Yeah.
They're starting to look like they got everything settled out for this one. Cliff Kingsbury, again, if he doesn't win this week, he's got to win next week. Otherwise, he may be fired.
It's one of those things where the Cowboys should win this game, but will they do what mediocrity, tends to do? Will they crap the bed in this game? I don't think they will, but goddamn, the way this year's been going, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm going to take the Cowboys, but I'm going to say it right here, right now. I wouldn't be surprised if they crap the bed in this game and Zona stole it. I don't think they will, but like Moose, tell me this wouldn't be the year to make that pick.
Oh, yeah.
It's just
Up and down on it. Well, speaking of a game down there, the team that made pull an upset on this one, it probably doesn't have any business doing that. And that's the next game on here, also a 4:25 game. We got Detroit going out to Seattle. The Lions are a 7.5 point dog against Seattle. Seattle had that game wrapped up last week, and they crapped the bed in the fourth quarter and let the Bears win this one. I think Seattle may win this game, they're not covering.
No, I agree with you on that. I think that they'll win. The Lions could steal this game. This is an upset alert.
Yes.
But I think when it comes down to like the clutch, if it like kind of like that, I think they just kind of eke out of there with the win against a team like the Lions, as opposed to losing.
Yes.
So
I'm not giving it.
But I mean, I'm not feeling good about it.
Not in the 7.5 points. I'm taking the Lions in 7.5.
Yeah, I would take Lions in the points all
basically,
day,
and they'll be
yeah.
12-5 against the spread. So I'm gonna say the Lions pull the upset on this one, because no matter what, they're guaranteed that second win on there, a second slot on there.
Oh right.
So I've got on there, but yeah, if Seattle wins this one, it's by under a field goal.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take Seattle, but yeah, they don't cover.
All right, we got the Rams are also a 425 game. They're a 3.5 point favorite at home on Sunday.
Who do they got? Do I gotta look
No,
up?
the Rams are on the road against Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
So they're 3.5 point favorite. Baltimore.
I don't know, man.
I got the Rams on there, but Baltimore.
Yeah.
I mean, Lamar Jackson's still coming with the ankle injury on this one. They have no pass game whatsoever on there, especially with the
And Harbaugh is all over the place. He looks like his brother did a couple years ago in Michigan.
yes.
He's all over the place. I don't know what's going on over there. I can't get with the Baltimore thing.
No.
I'm sorry.
Especially, I mean, again, what JoJo did to him.
Yeah.
What Stafford and Cooper Kupp are going to do. Cooper Kupp is on the precipice of setting the record for most receiving receptions and receiving yards in a single season.
Yeah.
He is in striking distance. He's not going to catch Randy Moss's touchdown record on there, but yards and reception-wise on there, and he will on there. So I got the Rams winning this one.
Yep.
All right, we got Sunday night game. We got the Vikings against Green Bay. Vikings are on the road at Green Bay. Green Bay is a 7.5 point favorite. Yeah, I mean, yes, they get Dalvin Cook back, but they lose Thielen's out for the year on the IR. This one, Green Bay is just rolling.
Yeah, Green Bay is playing great. They gotta be, in my opinion, the favorite in the NFC at this point, at this juncture. We'll see how that plays out, but they gotta be, up there. So yeah, we'll see how the next couple of weeks go, but definitely should be a good game for them this week. So I'll take Green Bay.
And I think this is going to be the last Monday night game of the year. We got Cleveland on the road against Pittsburgh. The Browns are a 3.5 point favorite against Pittsburgh.
They need to win.
They need to win on this one.
Don't they need to win out or something? Or
I
does it
think
even
they
matter?
need to win out to get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because right now it looks like Cincinnati and Baltimore are in. Cincinnati's probably going to win the division. Baltimore may sneak in on this one. But yeah, Cleveland needs to win out on there. And then again, Pittsburgh, again, Rossburg looks terrible.
And they don't have a kicking game. They can't kick extra points. Fuck.
No.
So they can't do anything. So to me, it just feels like if Cleveland can't win this game, then they're starting from scratch next year. So I'm going to say the desperation carries the day. I'm going to take Cleveland, but yeah, I ain't feeling good about it.
Yeah, I got the same thing too. So there we go with our pick'ems. Boy, we went top. Definitely is favorite heavy this week on this one. We each got one dog, and so either we're gonna look really good or really stupid.
Well, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
We'll probably be the
Probably
latter.
gonna be laughing stock. Watch, we'll say that we're laughing stocks, and we'll go like 15-1 or something.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. So it's been a brutal year for pick'ems. Just trying to determine how teams are going to play with these crazy rosters and this extended season and just everything. It's been one wild ass ride this year. Moose, I have to look at the number of episodes, but we're getting to 900 or something like that. And this is year 15, I think, that we're finishing up.
Yeah. I'm finishing
Something
up,
like that.
what, year 12?
12, yeah. It's been this out of all the years that we've been together doing this for
This
most
is by
of it.
far the worst we've ever did with our pick'ems.
It's been the hardest one to judge, and it's not even close. And then just even the stories and the stuff that we're talking about and the content, it's so much different. Remember when Nate co-hosted with you and I sat behind the glass? it was like the stuff we were talking about, the things that it was just so different. And then when we moved from that studio to this studio, like the conversations were just different. And then I know, we had our COVID years, so that was like when we did our end of year last year, it just felt like oh my God, we just made it through a year. Did we make it? What's going to happen now? Now we're kind of getting a little bit more of a clarity and understanding of what things are going to be like going forward, and it's still fucking clear as goddamn mud.
Yeah.
Clear as mud. But the one thing that is clear, we'll be back for another season. We'll be back next week.
Yeah.
We'll get into this thing. We'll be talking bowl games. That'll be the dominant thing, I'm sure. We'll be laughing about our pick'ems and all that fun stuff. But hopefully we'll be chit-chatting and hanging out and talking with you guys. Hopefully we'll be there'll be some brighter things, Get your resolutions together. Don't say, oh, those are silly and those are dumb. No, go ahead and try them. If you don't succeed, maybe you can next year. Maybe you can later in the year. But always keep that stuff in mind and keep on going, And don't let mental illness be a negative thing. Turn it positive, right? Take a negative to a positive, and don't let that stigma hold you back. Go back and do what's right for you and take care of yourself, and know that we are here to love and support you in all your future endeavors and anything you do that helps you from a mental and emotional health standpoint. It not only helps you, it helps all the people around you, and we want to be celebrating each other. This year was a lot of sadness, but we had a lot of happiness too, and I hope next year we have even more happiness. And guys, we love you. Be good to each other. We'll see you next year.
Peace out, brothers.
You're listening to Studio 57 Radio, your home for underground hip-hop, rap, and R&B. Studio 57 Radio.